I announce the quick formation of the government because there is no time left and because it's the only and the last chance our beloved country Lebanon has.
Halim Shebaya is a Middle East researcher and political analyst. He joins us now live from Beirut. Hi, Halim. Thanks for being with us. You know, so much energy and so much effort was poured into protests over the last year just to try to bring some real change to a pretty embedded and corrupt system. And now we're back where Lebanon started. How is this happening?
Good evening, Andrea. Well, I think as an analyst and even as a citizen, it's quite boring to comment on Mr. Hariri's return. Why is it boring? I say that word because we've been really repeating these names for the last decade, for the last 3 decades, actually. And suddenly we have Mr. Hariri, who's coming back after a very eventful year where one can summarize it as everything has changed and nothing has changed. Everything has changed because I think the international media has covered it, the economic collapse, the historic economic crisis in the country. And, you know, the second major event was the Beirut port explosion on August 4 that led to Hassan Diab's resignation. And suddenly here we are, in some ways back to where we started, but a lot worse than when we started last October 2019, with Hariri, who really was the prime minister who was elected or appointed in 2016 after the presidential settlement that saw President Michel Aoun come to power. And we had Hariri as prime minister, and then we had him again in 2018 after the parliamentary elections. He resigned due to popular protest, and a year later he's back. What more can be said, really?
Yeah.
It's a very, yeah.
It's tragic. I mean, it really is. And still, you talk about, you know, the repeating of the same name and why it's boring to talk about. I'm going to repeat the same question because I feel like I've been asking this since these protests started a year ago. What was ever the real political alternative? Who else was supposed to take the place of these people in this system that is so embedded in Lebanese society now since the end of the Civil War?
I think I've at least heard this question from you, Andrea, at least 2 or 3 times over the last year. And I think, you know, on the one hand, I've always said that, you know, if there's a political will, the alternative is there. You have a lot of resources in Lebanon. However, I mean, to speak very realistically, there are 2 alternatives. The political system is broken. Today, it's trying to revive, give itself its last chance, quote unquote, as it says. However, there's one alternative. One of them is to have a popular uprising that's coordinated enough, that's strategic enough, that's maintained and strong enough to really topple the current political system, which, and when I say that, I mean really where we have an overhaul of all the current leaders, with starting with the president to the speaker to the prime minister, and really envisaging a new Lebanon.
Right.
So completely a new Lebanon based on the fifth president. The second alternative, would be really to have elections and a change coming in elections where the current supporters of these political parties who voted them in 2018 would actually change their minds and vote for new
what new candidates? What new candidates? Where is this new party? Where is the new leadership that is actually ready to take the reins?
I think it's coming. I'm not very optimistic that the next elections will bring about huge change, but there's no alternative but to try to work towards a political organized movement that can potentially bring forth candidates who hopefully will be able to convince the public to vote for them. But I mean, again, I think this is, we forget that the political regime is very strong. It fought for its life. There was a revolution at the beginning in October with big goals of changing the way Lebanon has been dealt with, and the counter-revolution won, and that's something we have to accept at this point. Mr. Hariri is back,
right.
And had it been a year ago, there would have been huge, massive popular protests that would have led to his resignation again. Unfortunately, we're in a different situation today.
And we haven't even mentioned the foreign powers that are at play in all of this as well. Unfortunately, Halim, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, really, again, for joining us. We appreciate it.